everybody. I hope you had a good, restful winter. I know that I had a good, restful winter, and it gave me time to just rejuvenate and get creative and think about new projects. So I'm very excited to get back out in the garden. And unfortunately, I did not film an early spring video, which I'm kicking myself that I didn't, because I planted hundreds of bulbs last fall and I had a really nice spring show of bulbs. But what I want to do today is take you through the garden and just give you a garden tour. This is the end of May, so every month I'm going to do an end of the month garden tour just to show you what's changed about the garden and what plans I have for the next month, or just in general. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to take a walk around the property. I'm going to show you everything that's in bloom, and oh, everything looks so great. I mean, I am super happy with how the garden looks this year. We've had a great spring. It's been just so nice. And again, we're in Northeast Pennsylvania, so it's just been lovely. But let me take you for the tour. Let's go. Little video of Avery taking a little snooze. I brought out one of my house plants. It's just an ivy, I think English ivy perhaps. I'm not really sure of the variety. But I just brought that out, put it on a little wrought iron pedestal, and it looks nice here underneath the TV. My hostas are going crazy because we've had a lot of really nice weather and nice warm temperatures and a lot of rain, so they're going great. But they are pretty thick in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to thin these out a little bit. This is one plant right here. This is actually a second plant. I'm going to take that one out and I'm going to move it down the fence line there and make some room here so that I can replant my canna bulbs. I know they're not bulbs. I think rhizomes or corms. I'm not sure. I think rhizomes. But anyway, they are actually, I brought them out. I had wintered them over in a closet and they all wintered over, and I'm going to have to plant all these guys. I got a ton of them. They multiplied like crazy last year. So I'm going to pull out, I think, let's see, I think I can pull out three. I'm going to pull out 3 hostas and just kind of bring those down the fence line here and intersperse the canna bulbs in between. So we have nice groupings of canna and hosta. I picked up really beautiful hanging baskets from Darling's nursery up in Dallas. They always do a fundraiser every year with Shavertown Fire Company where you can buy they're not raffles, you just buy tickets for the hanging baskets ahead of time. And I think these baskets are normally like maybe $26 a piece, and you can buy the tickets from the fire company for I think $20 a piece. So it's a fundraiser for the fire company, and you can go and you can pick out your baskets May 1st. So I went, it was one of the first days of May, I went and I picked out my baskets. But these are just so gorgeous. They're doing fantastic. I like the tricolor. I think I had this exact basket last year. This is just such a beautiful tricolor blend. And unfortunately, because I did not plant this basket, I don't know what variety they are. But gorgeous, gorgeous. I love the tricolor. And I like getting 3 baskets the same for back here. Of course, my fountain. Oh gosh, I love this fountain so much. And it's lighted at night, so it's just so nice out here. So that's what I have going on back here. And then you'll see straight ahead my new willow tree. If you remember last year, I had these little willow branches that had blown off of our big willow in the front during a storm. And before last Easter of 2021, I had put them in a vase and they rooted. And I put them in a pot last year, and I wintered that pot over in our mudroom, and got a lot of light, and I just watered it a little bit here and there, and potted it up in this nice big pot this year, and it is just growing, and oh, so excited. So I'm going to leave that probably in this pot for probably a couple years before I'll have to really think about repotting it into something bigger or putting it out in the landscape. But it's going to be a really nice addition to the porch this year, to the deck here, because if you remember, I had the really nice big aqua pot by Proven Winners out here last year that had actually smashed in shipping, and I had just glued it together by wing and a prayer, and it lasted the whole summer and it was gorgeous, but I was really missing something big here. So I thought, geez, I'm gonna pot up this willow, and I think it looks great. So I'm super happy with that. Husband picked up a new smoker, gift from the boys for his birthday last October. We used that for the first time on Mother's Day, and oh my gosh, succulent, wonderful, great. All right, so just coming back around here, I'm really happy to say that some of the stuff that I planted along here last year, this was all empty last year, so I put in a little bit of silver mound there, moved it from the front bed down by the street. Hi, Avery. And then this Veronica was actually at my son's house, and it wasn't doing good down there. We're going to do a whole revamp of his place this year. So I brought all the plants home and found new homes for them in my garden. So those are looking like they are getting ready to bloom just so nice. They're looking great. Brought some of my older iris from the front, put a couple clumps here, and then also the Medusa allium is right there in the middle. That was from the front that I brought. And then again from the Darlings greenhouse out in Dallas. These are two more of the baskets that I just took and I planted up in the pots. I had geraniums here last year, so I'm going with some flowers this year. Then around the side here, these are every year when I get Easter lilies. I like to plant them out in the landscape after they're done blooming. And these 4 little ones here are from years past. And then this big one here is one that I got this year. So just planted that right in there last night. My dianthus is coming back nice and blooming beautiful because I had just transplanted this back here last year. However, unfortunately, there were, it was an old variety of daisy that was here with the house when we moved in, so I don't know, but they did not come back. And I had a bunch of them over here and they did not come back. So that's unfortunate. But the Russian sage that I transplanted over here last year from the front side of the house, the side of the porch, it looked so sad last year, but it did rebound. And it looks like it's coming on really good, and it's actually put out little runners, and we have some Russian sage growing back in there. Nice big green hosta peeking through. That's doing great. My Yuki snowflake, that is looking nice, and it's actually getting little white blossoms, which it didn't blossom for me last year because I had just transplanted it. So this is like the first full year, and it does look like it's got white blossoms around. So my hope is that, you know, every year it gets a little bit more established and produces more white blossoms. So I'm excited that that's looking so healthy. And then some echinacea there, and that's going to bloom later on in the summer. Another bunch of the Russian sage, which is looking very vigorous, and that's putting off some little side offshoots as well. Another bunch of echinacea that's going to blossom in the summer. Hi, Avery. Then over here, this is a transplant from my son Christian's house, the Creeping Jenny. This is just such a cool ground cover. I really like it, and it's putting off all kinds of little babies. So my hope is that it just covers the whole area under the swing. I would love that. And we've got some phlox here and here. And oh my goodness, I forget. It's little yellow flower, coreopsis here. But I have a nice big space here. And I think there's a plant in the front that I'm thinking about pulling out of the shade that needs a little bit more sun. And I think it'll get a little more sun here. So I'm thinking about putting that here. So we'll see. So over here to the left of my gate, I've got my hostas coming up. I planted last year a couple of different varieties here. We've got a beautiful chartreuse one, and then we've got one that's darker with a little light chartreuse, then a full green, and a different variety that's similar to the variety out in the front. Isn't that beautiful? And then I've got my beautiful cinnamon fern. Look at those center stalks. They look like cinnamon sticks. That's why they call them cinnamon ferns. Now I do have another bunch down there, but they are way further behind, and another bunch down there. So I don't know. They're very, very stunted compared to this front one. So I'm not sure what the story is with that. So we'll see how they do. And then the beautiful Weigela bush is just, all the blossoms are coming out, and it is spectacular. And they're not even all out in bloom. A lot of them are still like in bud stage. But this is just such a spectacular, spectacular shrub. And it's a huge, huge shrub. Underneath, what I did is I kind of trimmed it up a little bit, and I'm going to trim it up a little bit more because those branches that are coming down and starting to hit the dirt, they will actually root and start new shrubs. So I actually don't want that to happen. I want to keep this trimmed up so that I can put more hosta underneath there, and this beautiful, bright, vibrant, creeping Jenny is a wonderful, wonderful ground cover, and it's just going to continue to cover the ground under here and add some brightness and light. But I want to get, you know, more hostas back in there and ground cover, and, you know, I just want to lift the canopy of the tree up off, or the shrub up off of the ground, so that you can kind of see under. I really like that effect. Then over here, we've got some beautiful ajuga, and that gives a different color palette going on here. You've got the darker green with like a plummy purple leaf, and then they put out these beautiful blue purple spikes of flowers, just beautiful. And that's a wonderful ground cover too. That's gonna, you know, reach back underneath the bush as well. And then here I've got a number of different varieties of lilies that will come up a little bit later on in the summer here. And I did pop a couple of iris back in here. I've got one blooming right there. Got a little bit of daisies back there. I don't know what variety they are, but these are the old ones that were here when we got the house. And again, a lot of them, this was all filled last year with daisies. So only a little bit of them came back, so I don't know. And I've got more coreopsis here popping up from this main mound. So it's sending out shoots of coreopsis there. Then we've got some nepeta in the front here. Little cutting pieces from the big nepeta in the front. More ajuga. No blossoms on that one though. It seems to me that the shadier the area is, the more they tend to put up the flowers. This is more sun than over there. See, that's much shadier. And this has the pretty purple flowers. And the same out in the front, along the side of the house. It's much shadier, and there's a lot of blossoms, a lot of flowers on that. So that ajuga again will hopefully fill in here. And back in here, we've got the starts of the black-eyed Susans. And back there, weeds. Got to get those out. And in the front here, just a little bit more nepeta. This underneath here is Stelladoro lilies. And hopefully it's not going to get smothered out too much by these peonies, which these peonies, oh my gosh, every year these peonies get better and better. Look how huge that is. That is a good 6 foot wide stand of peonies. And they are a good 3 to 4 feet high. But they're just, oh, so many blossoms all over. Oh, this is going to be a gorgeous show very soon. Because right here, this is kind of what they call like the marshmallow stage. Because they kind of look like marshmallows. But before they start to open up, like this wasn't like that yesterday or even 2 days ago. So they're all starting to get bigger, and see that one's starting to get to the not quite to the marshmallow stage yet, but it's getting close. So, oh my gosh, so exciting. And then of course in the front here I have more of my yellow iris. And of course this side gets more sun. So I've got a lot more blooms right here than I do out front here. There are blooms there, but they're behind. So the shadier the area is, the longer it's going to take for your flowers to blossom out. But yeah, so that's what we have going on in the back here. Gorgeous. I'm super happy with how the garden's coming along. And of course I have that wall planter. Next time I go to the garden center, I'll get a few things to pop in there for some color, and maybe some sweet potato vine to trail down and get some color up on the wall there. So that is it for this back garden. So we're going to head out the side gate here. The latch actually broke on our other gate, so until I get that fixed, I'm going to use this gate. And you can get a look at these beautiful, beautiful stone steps that we put in last year. Oh, I love them so much. They're just gorgeous. Look back up. That just looks so pretty. And then we've got this whole blank slate here and here that I will work on at some point this year. So we'll just walk around back to the other side of that gate so I can pick up the garden tour back here. So you'll see my little lilac. It's doing all right. I think it does suffer from borers, so I am going to drench it. But it did get beautiful blooms, and I am going to trim it. So I'm going to do a video on trimming this lilac when the blooms are all spent. They're almost there. There's some little miniature black-eyed Susans there that I transplanted to this spot last year, so we'll see how they like their life here. But they were getting crowded out. They were further down in the bed and they were getting crowded out. And this is my praying hands hosta. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love that thing. And then some more green hosta, green and white hosta. I don't know the varieties of these because I did not. They were given to me over the years and I've divided them and moved them with me, etc. And then the ajuga. My ajuga ground cover is putting up the beautiful, beautiful purple spikes. Look at that. Ah, gorgeous. All down. So pretty. So my hope is that this just really fills in this bed. And then back here I've got a beautiful hydrangea that was here when we moved in. I don't know the variety, but it just was my pride and joy. Beautiful blooms last year of pink to blue and purple. It's just gorgeous. And unfortunately my lawn guys came to clear out my beds in the fall, and they were being so nice, and they trimmed back everything for me, but they trimmed everything back. And I just about had a heart attack when I came out and I saw that it had been just shorn off, and I was like, oh dear Lord, I hope it comes back. So it is coming back. I don't know if it'll be as big as last year, so we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. They felt really bad, and the owner said, oh gee, I'll buy you a new one if it doesn't bounce back. And I said, I'm sure it'll bounce back. It might just not have blooms this year. So we'll see what happens with that. But it didn't die, so I'm fine with it. Everything's an experiment in the garden. Another nice big green hosta. Another variety of hosta. Oh God, these are just beautiful. And I mean, these are ginormous. I mean, this is my hand. This is like ginormous. Oh, gorgeous. Some lilies. Got a little creeping Jenny in there, so I hope creeping Jenny kind of fills in down here. Beautiful azalea. Oh, isn't that spectacular? I love, love, love that shrub so much. And these are two of the hydrangeas I brought with me from two houses. I've carried these with me for 2 moves, and these got trimmed back as well. But you know, again, I'm sure it'll all be fine, and I'm sure they'll bush out and they'll be just large and gorgeous as always. And then we've got our little water slide hosta. Oh my gosh, this is so darling. I love this so much. Got my fountains going. So this is a nepeta, catmint nepeta. This is the one that I'm thinking about moving because this really does need more sun. And I think that back bed could give it, I mean, this does get pretty big, so I don't know. I have to think it through. Maybe I might divide it. I don't know. I have to think it through. But I was thinking this morning, what could I move to that back bed that needs to go in a little bit more sun? And so I thought of this, but we'll see. And then behind that, we've got some beautiful sedum. Gorgeous. 3 big clumps of sedum. My ghost fern wintered over great. I love the ghost fern. Put in here a little bit more ajuga. No blooms on this one, but that's okay. I moved heuchera into here, and these little teeny mini hostas. I might actually have to move these again because, as you can see, this hosta that I moved over here is loving its life, and it is going to eclipse this whole area. So I think I probably will have to move the heuchera. I probably will have to move the mini hosta. The creeping Jenny could stay there because that's a ground cover, so that'll just cover over. And then my third hydrangea there. Looking healthy, looking good. But look, oh, look at this bed. Last year my spring game was not so hot, but this year it is on point. I'll go over there in a minute. But we've got this whole corner here is the yellow iris. A little mini hosta down in there. Spiderwort, it's going to be blooming the pretty purple flowers soon. Hosta. I got the remnants of, I planted, oh gosh, hundreds of bulbs last fall of daffodils and tulips. And oh my gosh, I wish I had video of the garden in the early spring. I really kind of dropped the ball, but they came up, they looked really good. But I did not have as much, I mean, I ordered, I don't even know how many hundreds of bulbs I've ordered, but I only had enough just to put a few in around the tree, and it looked kind of sparse and straggly the beginning of the spring. So I'm definitely going to order more bulbs this year and really pack in this bed for early spring bulbs. Because the mix that I got last year was a mixture of early, mid, and late spring bloomers. So that's why you will still see, I don't think there's any out in the front here, but over underneath the crabapple there's a couple of tulips left. They're my late spring bloomers. But this hosta came out nice. Mums are starting to pick back up. Now there was another hosta here last year that, I don't know, it didn't make it. We do have a brunnera right there with the pretty purple flowers. I might have to move that. I think it's going to get eclipsed by this hosta, so I'm going to have to move that. And I did have another brunnera over here, but that did not come back this year, so I don't know. That looks great. That's coming back. Got more spiderwort over there. My huge monster hostas. And these beautiful chartreuse ones. I love a pop of chartreuse, especially in a shady area. It just brings some light and just, you know, vibrancy to a shady area. But oh my gosh, look at that contrast of the leaf shapes and sizes and colors. And then you've got the texture of the fern. Unfortunately, the one thing down here that I had last year was the northern maidenhair fern. That really did not make it. I finally yanked it this morning. It had one spindly little piece of a fern that was trying to live, and it was so pathetic. I just couldn't take it. So I pulled it out. But I think it's just as well because this hosta is going to grow and probably fill in most of it. And then in my wheelbarrow this year, I took 2 of the hanging baskets and I planted them up in there. So they are growing fabulous. But oh, look at this blend. Isn't that just so pretty? I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice and lush, and it's starting to cascade over the side. So I turned it around yesterday so that, because this side gets a little bit more sun, so this side will start to spill out. So I'll just flip it back and forth every week so that it spills out evenly from all sides. But I think this is the ticket, is to just get 2 baskets, put them in there with my Biotone starter fertilizer, and water them well. And this is a nice shady location. It does get dappled sun, so I think they're going to love their life, and I think they're going to do great this year. And then, oh my gosh, my very, very favorite heuchera, the solar eclipse. Oh my gosh, I love that variety so much, and it made it back, and I have several of them, a couple other places I'll show you as we go through. Another one of the chartreuse hostas. Again, those aren't the official names. I don't know what they are. Now this hosta here I know is a guacamole, because I do remember the tag on that because I bought that from the nursery and planted that. And so that looks like it's doing good. And then we've got some mums starting to come up down there. Remnants of my few daffodils and tulips here. So let's go over under the crabapple. The crabapple was beautiful this year with its pink blossoms, just gorgeous. I really, like I said, I dropped the ball. I should have done an early spring tour where I showed the crabapple and all the tulips and daffodils because it really was pretty. But hey, next year's another year, right? Now in this area, I did pull out some of the hostas because last year in the fall, because they were getting eclipsed by the, I'm sorry, I pulled out the heucheras because they were getting eclipsed by the hostas. So these hostas are starting to come in, and last couple of late season tulips there, remnants of the daffodils around here. Got a couple of heuchera over here. Now the third one right there is struggling, but I'm gonna leave it go. I don't know, we'll see if it makes it, but it just looks really pathetic. But this is gonna be fine, and this one is looking good and healthy. And then, oh my gosh, but some of these varieties of tulips and daffodils were just sublime. They were just beautiful, beautiful. So that's the side yard. So everything's looking good. You know, like I said, I lost a couple of things, but you know, that happens in gardens. Not everything makes it all the time. But I just want to take you over here. This late spring garden is just my dream, my dream, my dream. So one of the things that I did plant last year along with all of the tulips and daffodils is these Globe Master alliums. I planted 10 bulbs, and you only get one stalk, one bloom per bulb. So I got 10 of them, and I put them right in the middle because I knew that they were going to be pretty tall. And then down in the middle is the Russian sage. So we'll see if that is strong enough to kind of come up and replace these alliums as the summer interest. But oh my word, look at those Siberian iris. They are just magnificent. So beautiful. I've got my lilies starting to come. I had beautiful white Carnegie hyacinths here that have gone. I've got some salvia coming up here, starting to blossom. I got some down there too. And these iris here, now in the back here, I've got some more Siberian that I pulled off of that front clump and started a new clump back here. But these iris here are from my aunt, these ones in the front here. And so are these big tall ones. Gosh, these are just spectacular. These are like 3 to 4 feet tall. I actually had to cut a couple of the stalks and take them inside because with the rains that we had, they were kind of bent over. So I just clipped them and I have them in a vase in the house, and they are just spectacular. But look at this variety. Oh my God, these are amazing. Look at how gorgeous. Gorgeous. Clear yellow, and then the violet leaves. Oh, just so beautiful. Those were a gift from my aunt from Cape Cod that she gave me when she brought those down here when she moved. And then back in here we've got again more of my yellow iris that I keep pulling out of that original front bed and move into different areas of the garden. Now I eventually will have to take those out of there because, as you can see, like these all here in the sun are blossoming gorgeous, but these are stunted over here. Well, hello, little squirrel. Hello. Are you gonna come say hi to the camera? You're a young one. Yes, you are. You're a young one. Yes, you are. So these are blossoming, but they're a bud, but they're not all bloomed out yet because of the shade of the willow tree here. So as this willow tree grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the canopy comes and it's reaching over further and further. So this is actually becoming a shade bed. Last year it was part sun, part shade, but now it's pretty much a shade bed. So I think maybe at the end of the season I might have to relocate all of these iris. That's probably going to be a fall project that I'll relocate. Oh my gosh, that little baby squirrel is just so darling. He's not afraid. He doesn't know to be afraid. So I'm going to be relocating those and maybe putting some other shade-loving items here in this corner. But anyway, so back around over here, got this fountain going. It's just so lovely to hear the water trickling. And then in this corner of the bed here, my bee balm. We've got, again, some remnants of some tulips, but all this bee balm, it's spreading all over. So it's taken over this whole corner, which is great. I love that. I have different daylily varieties in here. Another view of those Globemaster alliums. Oh my gosh, they're so gorgeous. More yellow iris. And then I've got the penstemon. This is onyx and pearls penstemon. And I've got another bunch down there. Oh gosh, but look at these gorgeous, gorgeous Siberian iris. They are so tall. They're a good 3 to 3.5 feet tall. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then I've got some really pretty baskets on the front. So I ended up getting 10 baskets in all. I got 2 baskets for the front porch, 2 for the wheelbarrow, 2 by the shed, 3 out back. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I gave 1 basket to my mom. Where did the 10th one go? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. That's 10. So back up here. So last year I said, geez, I want to put something nice here. I couldn't think of what it was. So what I think I'm going to do this year is, you can see right there, this is a cupcake buddleia butterfly bush. It's just a little petite thing. So I had put in 1 here. This was 2 years ago. 1 there and 1 back in this corner. Right. Shade here. Right there. So as you can see, I don't think it's getting enough sun. I'm going to dig that out, and I'm going to bring that cupcake buddleia out and put it right here. See what happens. And then I'm going to look for something nice and thin and tall. Like probably about maybe 18 inches in diameter and about 3 to 4 feet tall, because I don't want it to come up too tall. And I'm going to get something that I can get a pair of. 1 for this corner, and then I'm going to put 1 right over in this corner, because I do like the symmetry. So I'll get 2 tall somethings, and I'll put that other cupcake buddleia here, and then I'll have room down in the front here for some other things. So back around here, if you remember, one of my videos last year was installing these trellises from Gardener Supply. I love them. They are so beautiful. And I planted 2 wisteria vine, and they are doing so good. Look at these things. I've got tons and tons of blooms on them, and they are just going to town. I mean, you'll see their little tendrils are trailing up. And I actually had to come out here this morning and take some of these tendrils that you see there. They were actually through and wrapping onto our railings. And they are just so spectacular. Look at how they grow. They just whip themselves around any support. And that's what they do. They reach out. And I have to keep an eye out that they don't crawl underneath the porch. I've been pulling the pieces out that are crawling under the porch and anything that's going onto the railings here, and retraining it onto the arbors. I want to keep it onto the arbors. And this, oh my gosh, this is just going to go so fast. I think that we are going to have, oh, there's some pollinators. We're going to have this covered this year, I think. And oh my gosh, but how glorious is that going to be, all covered with purple blooms. Oh my gosh, look at how pretty. So I'm super excited about that. I also had a little bit of peonies from the back that needed to get replanted. They were growing out a little bit too far, so I just picked them up and dug them out, put them here. And I think I'm going to do that here and there. Maybe get some more peonies and put there. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. I know I loved taking you around, and I'm just really looking forward to telling you all about the big projects we have going on this year. There's just lots of changes that are going to happen, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it all with you. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.